The powder dissolved in 3 seconds. Hana Seo counted. She always counted things when fear had nowhere else to go. Ceiling tiles, jacket buttons, footsteps in hotel corridors. Seconds it took for something dangerous to disappear into something beautiful. 3 seconds. That was all it took for the white powder to vanish inside the wine. The glass looked normal again. Red, expensive, harmless. But Hana had seen it. She kept her eyes down and moved her cleaning cart slowly, pretending to straighten a napkin that did not need straightening. Around her, the Grand Veyron Hotel's obsidian ballroom hummed with money. Crystal chandeliers, soft violin music, women in diamonds, men in suits worth more than her mother's hospital bills. Everyone looked important. Everyone looked untouchable. And Hana was invisible here. That was the job. Quick one. My amazing people, this is Amazing Sari. And if you love stories where the overlooked girl changes everything, stay with me. The waiter moved toward table 1 with the poisoned wine. Young guy, new badge, hands too steady for someone innocent. Hana's heart began to pound. Move, she told herself. It is not your table, not your guest, not your problem. She had 6 rooms left on her overnight cleaning list. Rent was due in 9 days. Her mother's kidney treatment was due in 11. Her younger brother's school had sent a 3rd warning letter. She could not afford trouble. But then, the waiter placed the glass down. The man at table 1 did not look up. He was reading something on his phone, jaw tight, like the entire luxury event around him was wasting his time. Sharp black suit, cold Korean-American features, dark eyes, stillness that felt dangerous. He reached for the glass. Don't. Hana moved before she decided to. Her body crossed the invisible line between staff and guest, the line every maid knew not to cross. She reached the table just as his fingers touched the stem. Then she knocked the glass over. Hard, crystal, shattered against marble. Wine spread across the white tablecloth like blood. The violin stopped. Every head turned. The silence was heavy, judging, deadly. Oh no. A security guard grabbed her arm. Miss, you need to come with us. Then the man at table 1 spoke. Let her go. His voice was quiet. That was what made it terrifying. He did not need to shout. The room obeyed him anyway. Hana looked up. The man was watching her now. Up close, he was not handsome in a soft way. He was precise, controlled, like someone carved by power and loneliness. His eyes moved from her face to the spilled wine, then to the waiter, then back to her. Something shifted behind his eyes. Calculation, recognition, danger. When he spoke again, his voice was barely above a murmur. You just saved my life. A pause. Sharp, deliberate. Now they will come for yours. The accusation came before sunrise. Hana was still in her uniform when Manager Yoon appeared in the staff corridor with 2 security guards behind him. He wore the expression of a man who had already found her guilty. Suite 1401, he said. You were the last one inside. Hana blinked. I cleaned the room. Mr. Kang's personal property is missing. What property? A diamond ring, 12 carats. Insured for more than you will earn in your lifetime. More than you will earn. The words were calm, but they cut deep. Hana stood still. I did not take anything. Manager Yoon sighed like her innocence was an inconvenience. The footage shows you entering the suite alone. I entered through the service door. That's what housekeeping does. The footage says otherwise. Her stomach dropped. That was impossible. She had used the service entrance. There was no clear camera angle there. Every housekeeper knew that route. Someone had used her key card. Someone had used her ID. Someone had built a lie in her name. By noon, her younger brother called, voice shaking. Hana, some men came to the apartment. They said Dad's debt is now your problem. By 2, his school sent another payment reminder. By 4, 2 men in suits were photographing the contents of her locker. Hana sat in Manager Yoon's office with her hands flat on her thighs. she did not cry. Crying was for people who would be believed afterward. Across the hotel, Adrian June Kang watched the security footage for the third time. He paused at the same frame. Same angle, same timing, same perfect lie. Hanaseo entering his suite through the main door. Except she had not. He had already checked. The real staff route had no working camera, which meant whoever framed her knew the hotel layout, knew her routine, knew she was poor enough to be blamed, knew nobody would question it. This was not theft. It was architecture. Someone was building walls around Hanaseo, and they were using his ring, his suite, and his name to do it. Adrian's fingers pressed together. His face did not change, but something inside him sharpened. Whoever poisoned his wine had been close. Close enough to his table, close enough to his suite, close enough to place a ring where it needed to be. And now they had dragged a maid into his war. He stood, straightened his jacket, picked up his phone. The footage showed Hana entering the room. She had never been there. And Adrian June Kang was going to make sure everyone learned the difference. The police station smelled like old coffee, sweat, and tired hope. Hana sat on a plastic chair with her wrists resting on her knees. 2 officers had told her to relax. She smiled politely. She relaxed nothing. Her phone had 17 missed calls. Her mother still did not know. That was the only mercy left. Then the room changed. No one announced him. No one needed to. The silence shifted before he entered, like the air itself recognized power. Chairs scraped. A man stood up. The officer at the front desk straightened. Adrian June Kang walked into the police station like he owned the building and was disappointed by the furniture. He did not look at Hana immediately. He spoke quietly to his lawyer. Documents exchanged hands. A signature. Another signature. The officer behind the desk looked at the papers, then at Adrian, then at Hana. His face changed. Adrian finally turned to her. Let's go. No explanation. No apology. Just 2 words. Like her freedom had already been handled. Outside, the air was cold. Hana stopped on the steps. I did not steal your ring. I know. Then why did they arrest me? Because whoever framed you is connected to whoever tried to kill me. He said it calmly. Too calmly. You are not a thief, Miss Seo. You are a loose end someone forgot to tie. That is not comforting. It was not meant to be. He walked toward the black car at the curb. I need you close. Hana stared at him. Excuse me? Whoever planned this has access to my inner circle. They will try again. And they will use you again if you remain unprotected. Unquote. So what? I become your prisoner? My personal housekeeper. Live-in position. My mansion. Full security. Your family debt settled while you are under my roof. End quote. Hana almost laughed. You are serious. I do not joke about survival. I don't need saving. Adrian opened the car door. Everyone needs saving eventually. The question is whether they accept it before or after someone gets hurt. She said no. She meant it. She walked home, made rice, and sat on the floor beside her brother's bed while he slept. She told herself she had done the right thing. At 2 a.m., her phone rang. Unknown number. A man's voice came through. Slow, pleasant, terrifying. Tell your employer you are taking the job, or your brother does not make it to school tomorrow. Her blood went cold. She called Adrian at 2:04. He picked up on the first ring, like he had been waiting. Move into my house tonight, he said, before she could speak. Or, by morning, your brother disappears. Hana gripped the phone so tightly her knuckles hurt. I'll be there in an hour. The gates did not open. They parted, slowly, deliberately, like even the entrance knew it belonged to powerful people. Hana had expected wealth. She had cleaned enough rich people's rooms to know what money looked like up close. Fresh flowers before the old ones died, marble floors polished by invisible hands, furniture nobody sat on because it existed only to prove a point. She expected that. She did not expect the guards. 4 at the entrance, 2 near the roof. One car parked at the east corner with the engine running and no destination. Hana counted. She always counted. Her room was on the 3rd floor. Clean. Quiet. Larger than her entire apartment. Someone had placed a glass of water beside the bed. That small kindness almost broke her. Almost. But Hana did not break easily. She worked. Work was the only place life made sense. The mansion had its own rhythm. Staff schedules. Supply rotations. Rooms that had to be cleaned in a certain order. Doors nobody opened. Hallways nobody explained. She learned everything in 4 days. On the 5th day, she was faster than the senior housekeeper. Adrian noticed. He noticed everything. That was the problem. He noticed she ate standing over the kitchen sink because sitting down made her remember how tired she was. The next day, trays of food began appearing near her workstation. Hot meals. No note. No explanation. He noticed when she cried after phone calls home. She was good at hiding it. Years of poverty had taught her how to tighten her face before anyone could read it. But twice, she turned a corner and found him already looking at her. Not with pity. Not exactly. More like a man who wanted to say something human and had forgotten the language. She told herself it meant nothing. She told herself many things. The meetings happened downstairs. Men arrived without names. Left without evidence. Some spoke Korean, some English. Some languages Hana did not recognize. She stopped cleaning that wing after dark. Some knowledge could get a person killed. On the 9th night, Hana was folding linen when her hand brushed something hard inside her jacket pocket. The small inner pocket. The one she never used. She pulled it out. A diamond ring. 12 carats. Cold, heavy. The missing ring from the photographs. The ring from the police report. The ring that had nearly destroyed her life. It was inside her locked room. Inside her own jacket. Someone had been there. Someone who could pass through locks. Hana stood in the linen closet, the ring burning in her palm, and suddenly she understood. This was not over. It had only moved closer. They arrived on Sunday. 6 cars. 17 people. The kind of family visit that felt more like an invasion. Hana had been told to stay in the staff quarters. Remain invisible. Do not engage. But invisibility had stopped working the night she knocked over Adrian Kang's wine glass. The woman leading the invasion was Celeste Yuna Moon. She was beautiful in a way that had been sharpened into a weapon. Perfect hair, perfect dress, perfect smile, eyes that could insult you before her mouth opened. She moved through the mansion like she was already choosing where her furniture would go. Then her eyes found Hana in the east corridor. Her? She did not lower her voice. She wanted Hana to hear it. The family gathered in the main hall. Cousins, uncles, women in silk, men with quiet, cruel faces. Celeste stood in the middle of them all like gravity. Then the ring appeared. The photos, the fake security report, a file with Hana's name inside it. Precise enough to look real, wrong enough to ruin her. She is a thief, Celeste said sweetly, and, likely worse, she is also standing right here, Hana said. Silence fell, not because her words were powerful, because nobody expected the maid to speak. Hana explained everything. The service entrance, the camera blind spot, the timeline, the impossible keycard use. She spoke the way she folded linen, cleanly, precisely, without shaking. It did not matter. She saw it in their faces. They had decided before she opened her mouth. She was poor. She was staff. She was easy to blame. Believing her meant believing someone in their own family was guilty. And rich families hated that kind of math. Celeste smiled. Hotel thief. Opportunist. Cheap. Little. Enough. Adrian's voice did not rise. It never had to. He crossed the hall and stood beside Hana, not behind her. Beside her. The room changed immediately. She is not a thief, he said. The accusation was manufactured. Celeste's smile remained. Adrian, darling, you are being naive. His jaw tightened. Hana is under my protection. A pause. Anyone who moves against her moves against me. The room heard the threat. Hana felt the shift beneath the polished floor. Old alliances moved. New danger woke up. Later, the family lawyer pulled Adrian aside. Hana watched from the corridor. The lawyer spoke quietly. Adrian's face changed. Not fear. Decision. An hour later, he found Hana in the garden. They think you are a spy, he said. Hana's chest tightened. They will have you removed, or worse. Worse? His silence answered. Then he said, there is only one status in this family that makes you untouchable. Hana already felt the sentence before it arrived. No. Adrian looked at her. His eyes were calm, but something underneath them was asking for forgiveness. Yes. Then he turned toward the house, where everyone was waiting. And in front of the family that wanted her gone, Adrian Jun Kang said, she is not my maid. He paused. She is my bride. Hana hated him for 3 days. Quietly, professionally, with the focused anger of a woman trapped in a life she did not choose, she cleaned with extra precision, answered his questions in single words, refused to appear at dinner. He let her. That was what weakened her anger. She had expected commands, a reminder of what he had done for her, a cold speech about debts and protection. Instead, Adrian left her alone with her fury, like he understood it had a right to exist. She did not know what to do with a powerful man who made space for her anger instead of crushing it. The engagement became public. The internet lost its mind. A CEO and his maid, a billionaire and a housekeeper, a poor girl and the most unreachable man in the city. People called her lucky, a gold digger, a social climber, a nobody. Hana did not have time to read it all. She had a mansion to manage, a brother to protect, a mother to keep alive, and a fake fiancé who kept doing quiet things that made it harder to hate him. She found the first envelope in her room. Her brother's school fees, paid for the entire year. The second envelope came 2 days later. Her mother's medical account, cleared. No note, no signature, no speech. Just help, done in silence. Like kindness embarrassed him. Then one of the kitchen staff told her something else. He sleeps outside your door. Hana froze. What? After your nightmares, he sits in the hallway until morning, and he does not enter. He just stays. And why? That night, Hana lay awake. Past midnight, she heard the soft scrape of a chair outside her door. Her breath caught. She walked quietly to the door, but did not open it. Instead, she pressed her palm against the wood. On the other side, the most dangerous man she had ever known sat in silence because she was afraid. She did not know when her heart started changing. Maybe it was the food trays, maybe the school fees, maybe the way he noticed when she was tired, maybe the way he never touched her without permission, maybe the hallway chair. 3 weeks later, she passed his study and heard him on the phone. His voice was low. The marriage is fake. A pause. Then softer. But what I feel for her is becoming real. Hana stopped breathing. She walked away before he could see her. She did not stop until she reached the garden. Cold air touched her face. Her heart did something complicated and inconvenient inside her chest. She had entered his house to survive. She had not planned to fall in love with the man who made survival feel less lonely. The proof came in pieces. A name overheard. A date that did not match. A payment hidden in household accounts. A security contractor connected to Damon Tae Kang. Damon was Adrian's cousin. Quiet, polished, always watching. The kind of man who moved through rooms like smoke. And Celeste Yuna Moon? She was not just jealous. She was involved. The poisoned wine, the missing ring, the fake footage, the second frame-up. It was not random. It was a campaign. Careful, patient, designed to make Hana look like trouble until Adrian had no choice but to throw her away. But they made one mistake. They thought she was only a maid. They forgot that maids see everything. Hana documented it all. Photos, copied files, dates, names, messages. She moved through the mansion like she moved through hotel rooms, touching nothing that would leave a mark, taking only what she needed. She needed to tell Adrian. She was crossing the third-floor hallway toward his study when the lights went out. Not the whole house, just her corridor. Targeted, surgical, a darkness made for her. She ran, not fast enough. When she woke, she was in a windowless room. Her phone was gone. Her shoes were gone. A single lamp burned in the corner. On the table beside her lay her necklace, the small gold one her mother gave her. The clasp was open, deliberate, like punctuation. Across the city, Adrian received a black envelope. Inside was Hana's necklace and a note. Choose your empire or your maid. The room waited for him to calculate. Power against one woman. Legacy against love. Empire against a maid who had knocked over a glass and changed his life. Adrian looked at the necklace for a long time. Nobody in that room had ever seen his hands shake. They did not shake now. They became very still. The kind of stillness that came before something absolute. He stood. Find Damon. His voice was quiet, terribly quiet. And tell them, I have made my choice. Adrian went in with 4 men and came out with 12. The rest had belonged to Damon until they realized power had changed direction. Hana heard him before the door opened. His voice in the corridor. Low, controlled, deadly. Then the lock turned. He entered. Hana stood in the middle of the room with her chin lifted. She had decided in the dark that she would not let them see her small. Adrian stopped when he saw her. Something crossed his face too fast to name. Then he crossed the room in 3 strides. He checked her wrists, her face, her shoulders, her breathing. Fast, efficient, almost cold. But when his hand paused near her cheek, Hana understood. It was not coldness. It was fear trying to behave. I had the evidence, she said. On my phone. They took it. I know. You know? I knew for 2 days. I was building a case strong enough for the council. His jaw tightened. Then they took you, and airtight stopped mattering. Hana stared at him. What did you give them? The East Veyron Holdings branch. What is that? 2 billion in managed assets. The number hit her like a physical blow. Adrian, it does not matter. It absolutely matters. Hana. Her name in his mouth was different now. Soft, certain, like he had been holding it carefully for weeks. None of it matters if I lose you. But Hana had not run out of moves. Before they took her, she had emailed one compressed file to a backup account she created months ago. Instinct, survival, wisdom poverty had beaten into her. The council convened that night. Hana stood in a room full of people who had spent her whole life not seeing women like her. Then she opened the file. Celeste's coordination, Damon's payments, the security footage manipulation, the poisoning timeline, the ring, the kidnapping. Everything was there. Chronological, sourced, impossible to ignore. Celeste's perfect face began to crack around the 4th piece of evidence. Damon tried to speak. Nobody listened. The council withdrew from him before he finished his sentence. That was the thing about power. It abandoned weakness quickly. When it was over, the room was quiet. Adrian stood across from Hana. He had given up $2 billion for her, walked into danger for her, chosen her before he even knew she still had the proof. Now everyone knew it too. He crossed the room slowly, then lowered himself to one knee. A sound moved through the council. Shock, disbelief, fear. A Mafia CEO kneeling before a maid. Adrian looked up at Hana. I made you my fake bride to save your life, he said. His voice was stripped of power now. No performance, no command, just truth. Now I am asking you to become my real wife. Hana looked down at him. The most powerful man in the room, the most dangerous. the most guarded, on his knees, for her. Before she said the word, her heart had already answered. Yes, yes, yes. They said it would not last. Hannah heard it everywhere. At the engagement announcement, at the council dinner, in the hotel, whispers, online, a hotel maid, his housekeeper, a nobody, a lucky girl, a gold digger. People said it like they were trying to make her small. But Hannah had cleaned rooms at midnight. She had counted coins at the kitchen table. She had carried her mother's medical fears. She had protected her brother from debt collectors. She had walked into a Mafia mansion and survived the coldest parts of it. She was not a nobody. She had never been a nobody. The world had simply been careless about looking. The wedding was in April, not in the cold grand hall the Kang family preferred. Adrian chose a smaller place with natural light, a quiet garden, and windows that opened toward the sky. He did not tell her why. He did not need to. He had chosen it for Hannah Seo, not for the media, not for the council, not for the dynasty. For the woman who had pressed her palm to the door while he sat outside in the dark. Her mother came. Her brother came in a suit that did not fit properly, and Hannah loved it more than any designer piece in the room. Her aunt cried through the whole ceremony and made no attempt to stop. Adrian's hands were steady when they took hers, but his eyes were not. Something moved in them when she walked toward him, something only she could see, because she knew how to read him now, the private weather of his face, the quiet storms he hid from everyone else. The vows were short. He had written his own. I have made every decision in my life from control, Adrian said. You are the first person I chose without calculating the cost. Hannah's eyes filled. I intend to keep choosing you. She thought about the night it started. A ballroom, a glass of wine, 3 seconds. A poor maid who moved toward danger instead of away from it. Then she said quietly, I moved toward you once. I will keep moving toward you. Outside, the city continued like nothing had changed. But everything had. Nobody believed a hotel maid could walk into a billionaire's world and survive. But survival was never the full story. Hannah Seo walked into Adrian Kang's empire and broke it open. Inside the breaking, she found something worth keeping. Not the money, not the power, not the mansion. Him, the man who sat outside her door after nightmares. The man who paid bills without asking for praise. The man who gave up $2 billion because her life mattered more. The man who knelt in front of a council because love had finally made him brave in a different way. She had been invisible her entire life. Now she chose to be seen. And Adrian June Kang, cold, precise, dangerous, and lonely, looked at his wife in the April light like a man who had finally arrived home. She did more than survive. She became the woman he chose over power, family, and empire. And he became the man she made worth choosing.